gentlemen, and monsters of all ages, it's such a nice day outside, isn't it? And by outside, I mean inside. And by inside, I mean online on your PlayStation and or Xbox, as we finally have the promised variants, Furious, Raging, and Raging Brachydios, and oh boy, do they live up to the hype. Yes, they do. They also live up to the tales of their legendary difficulty, and if anything, both of these crazy creatures are even harder than they were in the old games, especially Raging Brachydios, who is on a whole other level of challenge than I was expecting. So, you know, I thought I could, only if you want me to, tell you everything about his changes and upgrades from Iceborne's regular Brachydios, along with a few tips on how to avoid his most difficult moves.
Do it.
Well, what better place is there to start than the nature of the quest itself? This is not really a regular Monster Hunter quest. No, not at all. It's actually a lot closer to the old-style special one-zone arena they gave to powerful monsters, as not only does Raging Brachydios not exist in any other quest than this one, as even the optional is just the same quest again, which also has no other monsters on it, by the way, and rather than being the guiding lands as it says it is, truthfully, what we actually have is a set of 5 zones that Raging Brachydios will go to as you lower his health, and the only discrepancy here is if you really pile on the damage here, he might skip a zone and go right to the next one. But aside from that, his pattern is always to start in zone 2, then go to zone 3, then zone 5, then zone 14, and then zone 15 to end it all off. So while on the surface it looks like the openness of world, in truth, it's the same real idea. There is no randomness involved in where he goes, it's planned, but this means that you can get really intimate with the zones.
I am sickened, but curious.
By which I of course mean that you can learn how to take advantage of the terrain in reference to his attacks. Because he always goes to the same zones, there is a limited number of attack and location combinations, yada yada. He is very learnable as a monster. But moving on towards the actual going-ons of the fight, the most noticeable and important difference from regular Brachydios is that his beautiful ancient slime doesn't just react to him licking it. No, in fact, it reacts to just about any sort of pressure, including the hunter hitting Brachy himself, as you'll notice as you attack him that his slime will change colors from green all the way to red, and if you hit a red slimed body part, well... And it can be awkward to say the least, as this is a mechanic that affects the entire fight from start to finish. You want to get used to this real fast. This part of Brachy is sort of like a chess game, realizing where you can extend yourself and trying to think ahead of his slime activation, as if you start a combo on the wrong part at the wrong time, you'll be finding yourself on the wrong end of many explosions. This fight is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't push yourself into dangerous positions for damage unless you are confident that you can survive it. Another majority of fight affecting change is his enrage mode, in which all of the slime on his body changes from a stable green to a hazardous orange, correctly warning you that he is much more volatile in this state, as most of his attacks will result in instantaneous explosions, and most of your attacks will also result in instantaneous explosions by him dropping a pool of slime on the floor to explode right next to your face. If you are really struggling with him during his enrage, I would recommend tenderizing and then attacking his beefy legs. They may not be the weakest part of his body by any means, but they are easily the safest to attack, especially as they are the only part of him not covered in slime.
Oh my.
In comparison to regular Brachy, his puddles are also generally larger and of course explode significantly faster, so just watch out for that in general, and as if you need me to point it out, he is an absolute unit. I fucking love brute wyverns, and I love it when brute wyverns are particularly large, and this Raging Brachydios is just a big, beautiful boy. As a result, however, he is also much slower. I love this too, honestly. Moving on to more individual attacks then, the Raging Brachydios has a number of quick little swipes and jabs to connect a few of his previous moves into new combos. But more importantly, he has a small pile of new ways to just ruin your day one step at a time. The first step is the fact that his tail is now covered in slime, and he has a Basil Geese-esque slam where he just shoves it on the ground and explodes the slime attached to it. Oh! But if you can stay calm about it, you can actually still hit the base of his tail quite safely. So while this doesn't make his tail unattackable in general, it does just add another part of him that is dangerous to be near at any point in time. If this attack does come at you, a simple roll to the left or right should get the job done. Raging Brachy also has this sort of uppercut slime fling attack where he digs his arm up from below against the ground, firing slime in a straight line with a short fuse. This thing is really fucking cool, guys. I love this attack. Once again, it is a simple pull left or right dodge to avoid it, but just be aware that he is fully capable of starting another attack before the slime explodes, because that is just how Raging Brachydios do. He also has a sort of augmented headbutt slime ability where he digs forward with his head a little bit first to get some more momentum, and it sends the slime even further, and of course he can do this 3 times in a row. I surrender! But oh no, that's not even the most deadly thing he can do before the final zone. No, that title belongs to this punch and headbutt combo where he shoves his limbs into the floor and just makes slime come into existence everywhere around the zone in 3 bursts. One arm, then the head. I really like this attack. It's sort of like a Dance Dance Revolution. There is always a safe spot to stand in every burst. You just have to sort of walk between them. It's really cool. This attack I actually haven't even seen that often, maybe only a couple of times, so it isn't all that common, but oh man, is it awesome. Did you notice how I clarified that that last one was the deadliest thing before the last zone? Well, on the off chance that you are seeing this video without having seen it in game for the first time, there is no way that I can rid you of the fantastic moment that is this. His punches set the entire area ablaze. The air gets a Lunastra type heat aura that can only be stopped by cool drinks, which is a very neat touch by the way. He seals off the zone completely so no one can leave, but leaves a slight rock up so that you can re-enter the zone if you die, and honestly it's the perfect place to be an absolute badass from. In this final zone, the entire slime mechanic of the fight changes. It no longer explodes for the most part, it doesn't apply Blast Scourge to you, and instead it just becomes a nearly everlasting patch on the floor that does damage over time while you stand in it. During this, none of Brachy's attacks explode and instead just throw more slime patches around the place. He also has a move in here where he will just sort of force a bunch of new slime to grow out of nowhere, but the thing that you have to watch out here for, and I mean really watch out for, is this roar. Because it will detonate every single patch of slime in the zone.
This is fucking awesome.
And the way to deal with this is mostly just space management. Keep him on one side of the zone for as long as you can, slowly dragging him further through so you have the space to fight him without having to stand in the damaging puddles. It's not easy by any means, but oh boy is it fun. Just in a sort of behemoth-y kind of way, if you know what I mean. And that just about covers the individual changes, but just in case you were looking for a few more general tips on how to beat him, you're in the exactly correct place. Though Raging Brachydios is an Elder Dragon level threat, you can still put him in shock and pitfall traps no problem. However, do be aware that his slime will still react to your attacks in this state, so it's not perfectly safe. Raging Brachydios is weakest in his head, his arms, and his tail, depending on your weapon of choice, and he is weakest to the ice element if you are planning something a little more elemental. If you see one of Raging Brachydios' parts are glowing red, just don't clutch claw it.
It's a trap.
Your tenderize attack will drop the slime off of it, and then you will politely place yourself inside of it, trapped in an animation that lasts longer than the slime takes to explode. And finally, if you are particularly struggling with him, or are someone who feels comfortable playing multiple weapons or playstyles, I would recommend doing this in a very hit and run type style, either crit draw greatsword or charged attack hammer, just big, solid hits that don't require long combos and allow you solid mobility. Also, I hear ranged weapons are pretty okay. And then finally, of course, blast resistance. Having full blast resistance full on negates Blast Scourge from applying to you, which really opens up most of the fight, as you can walk on through the slime puddles with reckless abandon when they aren't actively exploding. On top of this, health boost is always recommended, and I said it before, but I'll say it again, this fight is a marathon, not a sprint. Take it slow, heal if you're not at full health, and don't randomly swing your weapon at whatever part's in front of you, and you'll really be just fine. All in all, I think Raging Brachydios is still in his rightful place as the best variant in the series, even if he does feel a bit more like a boss than a creature at times. His new ability to chain certain attacks make it feel like his combos can go on forever, and his fully new moves combined with that almost feels like he's just learned a totally new fighting style and incorporated it into his moveset, and then I just have nothing negative to say about the final zone. That shit is just far too cool to have any issues with, honestly, but really I think Capcom has done an amazing job here. They brought an old world icon to the new world. They changed him up pretty massively, and if anything, they've just made him better in my opinion. Alright everyone, I've been Cotton Dinosaur, and this has been everything that you need to know about Raging Brachydios and how to fight him. Have you enjoyed fighting him so far? Do you love his remake as much as I do? Like if you like the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. This is the brand new outro to tell you all the things that you do that we love, so let's start with something simple and say, oh, we love your eyes. When they're watching us play video games, we make a bunch of jokes that are kinda lame, or when they gaze upon our failures as we try to kill the monsters or report important news about the kingdom Animalia. Rage, Cotton, and Hollow are all here, talking about the things you want to hear, so if you want to be the first to hear, like and subscribe and the bell and we'll cheer. Some of you are patrons even though we are all the noobs and you're the pros. There's nothing we can do to thank you. No, really, there's nothing we could possibly do. Goodbye.